just a podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Just a Podcast, episode 2 now, I believe, and we are back. Nobody knew that we'd be back, but we are back.
No.
And we are pleased to announce that this is going to be a regular, consistent thing.
Mm-hmm.
These are going to be Saturday videos. Wow.
Wow. Who would have ever thought that Just You Guys would put out more videos than they were supposed to?
Yeah.
Usually we put out less.
We're never gonna release a Sunday video because we're both Mormon. So, on that note, we're going to just kick off straight into our article segment, I think.
Absolutely.
Once again, we've given each other code words to make sure that we don't have the same article. Trey's code word was, what was it?
India.
Yeah, and mine was Japan. So, we don't have the same article, presumably.
Unless Japan is now in India, or vice versa.
Do you wanna start this one off? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Okay, my favorite part of these is the headlines, always, right?
100%.
I have not even read on. 2 men beaten to death over theft of cow.
That's good. That's good.
This took place in India. 2 Muslim men, I don't know why that's important,
No.
were beaten to death by a mob in northeastern India over allegations of cow theft.
Allegations.
The latest in a series of similar attacks across the country, police officials said Monday.
What does that entail? What do cow attacks entail? I have to ask.
There's no death worth laughing at.
Then like
but
death
let me
by
tell you
cow
something.
theft?
Death. So the idea is they steal the cow,
Yeah.
and then a mob surrounds them and murders them.
Right. That's what I gathered.
Why don't they just take the cow back? You have so many hands. Presumably, some of you are ranchers to be so offended by the theft of a cow. Could you just drag the heifer back? I don't understand. And it seems to be over theft of a cow. So this is a single cow issue. All right,
A single cow issue.
so
right.
now these people have done the math. 2 humans are equal to 1 cow. Right? To save the life of this cow, they were ready to kill.
cows are sacred.
I mean,
India.
yeah, but
To what extent?
well, exactly.
Like if someone burned a Bible, we wouldn't bludgeon them to death. We would probably say like, "Oh, that's
Exactly.
really bad. That's really disrespectful. Don't do it again."
Right.
But don't beat them with the spine of the Bible.
Until they die.
Yeah.
Senior Assam State Police official Mukesh Agarwal, whatever, sounds like a cold medicine, said police filed a... Is that racist?
No.
Okay.
It's just insensitive.
Is it racially insensitive?
Absolutely.
Said police have filed a criminal complaint and are trying to identify the members of the mob, but no arrests have been made so far.
Okay, so I'm glad to see that the mob are lawfully in the wrong here.
Yeah.
At least more so than the cow thieves.
The attack took place Sunday in a village in Nagon district, 80 miles east of the state capital, when a mob accused the 2 men of trying to steal cows. Trying to steal cows.
No, it's alleged. This whole thing is alleged.
But I thought they allegedly completed the theft of the cow. Here they're just accused of trying.
They allegedly thought of us stealing. They're like, there's just 2 people looking at it like, that's a really nice cow, dude. Yeah, it really is. You're trying to steal that cow? No, man. We're just looking at it, admiring it. Oh my God, everybody's trying to steal this cow.
Yeah, together let's beat them with sticks and rocks, according to the article. Well, at least they weren't called names.
Yeah. Sticks and stones may break their bones.
This is the 3rd cow-related death in the country in the past month.
What a sentence.
On April 1st.
In the month. Oh, okay.
In the month of April.
The date is currently the 3rd of May. When you said it's the 3rd one of the month, I honestly thought it was that's one per day.
It's a cow death per day. On April 1st, Pelu Khan, a Muslim cattle trader, was lynched by a mob in the western state of Rajasthan as he transported cattle he had brought at an animal fair back home to the state of Haryana. Khan and his family were small dairy farmers. The rise in cow-related lynchings and beatings after the ruling Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party was voted to power in a landslide victory in 2014. It began after, I don't know if I skipped the word began, because I was like, where's the verb in that sentence? Most of the attacks have been attributed to local Hindu radical groups. The other attacks were attributed to your grandmother down the lane. I don't understand. Most of the attacks were attributed to Hindu radicals. The rest of them were by Hindu moderates, I suppose. Right? And so it's like, I don't understand this. Human Rights Watch said in a report last week that since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government took over, at least 10 Muslims, including a 12-year-old boy, have been killed in mob attacks and 7 separate incidents related to allegations over cows. Apparently, I stumbled onto a religious problem.
Yeah. Let's talk about this for a second. All right, let's just quit right here. I understand that cows are sacred.
Absolutely.
In Hindu.
Yeah, I respect that.
In the Hindu religion.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
A 12-year-old boy is less sacred than a cow.
Well, because he holds differing religious beliefs, or at least his parents do. And it becomes
A 12-year-old boy doesn't even know what a religious belief truly is.
I agree. I 100% agree.
A 12-year-old boy is just like, oh, my dad thinks this and that's cool. You know, he doesn't trust the banks. He keeps money in the walls.
A classic Muslim belief if I'm to believe what my father tells me.
Right, but he doesn't know. He doesn't get it.
Know. He has never read the Quran. Not all the way through. He read the part about how women are worth half of what he's worth.
He probably thinks cows are cool. If I had to guess. Most people do.
Well, what it really is Western influence, because he just wants to be a cowboy is what's going on.
Oh, is that
and
so?
You just can't ride a bull in
India, yeah. That's incredibly wrong. They should come over here and beat us with their cows. For just putting the idea in the poor boy's head.
I wonder what they would think about. I don't know if these are a snack outside of the South, but you guys know about cowtails? I wonder what they would think of that.
Oh.
Yeah, these caramel cream long.
Oh, and they're so good.
They're delicious. I eat cowtail every night.
Let me tell you what a cowtail really is. Heaven in a stick. I'm sorry. Nirvana in a stick. Now, what's it called? The Hindu.
No, that's Buddhism.
Yeah, Nirvana is Buddhism.
I don't know. It's like oneness with Krishna. I don't know.
Yeah, Krishnava. I don't know, man. I'm making stuff up.
Hare Krishna was an embodiment of Krishna.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's amazing though.
Hare Krishnaism is its own thing.
I don't know.
Wait, let's just drop the religious conversation.
You're talking to me.
I don't know what we're talking about.
I'm trying to talk about cowtails. Cowtails are good. Long story short.
Yeah, but please don't make those cowtails short. We want more.
Yeah, no, in the long, okay, look. They make cowtails that are like, I don't know, the length of a standard finger. No. You gotta get the cowtails that are length of a standard human. Mm-hmm. Those are the good ones. Those are the ones that'll last you.
Man, alright, I'm gonna end this one with this sentence right here.
Alright, I'm ready.
Over the last 2 years, vigilante groups who call themselves cow protectors have become active in small towns and cities across the city. So this is on the Metro. Presumably it is legitimate.
Yeah, and you guys can find that in the show notes in the description.
Yeah, I'll make
those
sure
will be down there. Okay, look. This went from being like unruly mob justice to now vigilante justice.
Aren't they the same?
No, not necessarily. Vigilante implies organized retaliation, right? It implies this idea like a vigilante justice is somebody who understands and knows what they're doing.
Oh, I see.
Whereas a mob is just like anger. Yeah, it's just like anger, and it may not be the right decision. Vigilante justice, I should say, typically, from my understanding, is the right thing to do, but not the lawful thing to do. So I suppose they've considered themselves vigilantes by our Western cowboy standards. They're incorrect.
Brahma boys.
They could have come up with a better name than that.
Cow
protectors.
Yeah, well,
that's probably a directly translated name. To be fair,
probably got a cool name in Hindi,
it's probably like Brody guards.
Let's get out of the hot racist water and let you tell us what's going on in Japan, the land.
Yeah. So this one is from goboiano.com/Japan.
Okay.
It's an article published on the 27th of April. It's called Japan Puts Anime in Zoo and Penguin Adopts a Waifu. I'm just gonna let it finish with this real quick.
Oh, of course he did. No, of course he did.
So, for context, there's apparently, I don't know too much about it, but there's a show, like an anime, I think it's a kid's show, but honestly I'm not sure, called Kimono Friends. And presumably it's about a bunch of little anime children dressed up as different animals.
Okay.
So they put up the kimono friend of the penguin girl in the penguin's part of this Japanese zoo.
Yeah, in the penguin enclosure.
Yeah, okay. So, various Japanese zoos have been collaborating with Kimono Friends and hosting special events. It's been working, as social media has been showing an increase in zoo visits. The Tobu Zoo was hoping to bring otaku and children alike to their exhibits, but they accidentally turned one of their penguins into an otaku. Each exhibit pairs a Kimono Friend character with their real-life counterpart. Grape-kun, a 20-year-old penguin, literally fell in love with Hululu, who is a Humboldt penguin character. Japanese visitors noted that Grape-kun would spend every minute staring at it, sitting next to it, or praising Hululu as if it was a breathing mate. He was even neglecting the rest of his flock just to be with Hululu. The penguin was dedicated.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
In fact, Japanese fans have been sharing fan art. I probably shouldn't have included that, but if you click the link, there's a bunch of fan art. The zookeepers are isolating him from Hululu for his health. It has been noted that the original edit of this said that Grape-kun wasn't eating, so they have separated the two. But it has been noted that Grape-kun isn't being isolated because he's not eating. It's so he wouldn't fall into the pool during closed hours. I assume that's so for his own safety.
Yeah.
But 20 years old is relatively old for a penguin, so they're afraid for his health. Still, we hope Grape-kun will learn to let go of his yandere tendencies so he can be reunited with his waifu.
And there was a really sexual image of his wife.
Yeah, which was really weirdly thrown into this like cute article. First of all, how adorable is that he saw her and he's just stricken with the love bug. Just bit right in the penguin face by the love bug. That is adorable. He's just looking at it and he's like, I don't even understand this and I'm in love. It's cute.
You know what like strikes me as the most important underlying thing in this entire article is that apparently zoos were not doing as good as anime. Yeah. And then they decided, hey,
let's combine the two.
It's like have you ever seen
Okay, so here's what it's like.
Okay.
It's like if Cowtails weren't selling well. And the new Monsters Inc. movie was coming out and they were worried about Monsters Inc. sales.
Yeah.
Right? And so they put Cowtails in Monsters Inc. And there was an increase in visits to Monsters Inc. because of Cowtails.
I don't know that that's what that would be like, actually.
I would go see Monsters Inc. if I can get a Cowtail there, though.
Oh, I thought you meant there was like product placement in the movie, and therefore everybody was like, "Let me go." I'm
sorry, they put Cowtails in the theater.
Oh well, then yes, I would go.
Yeah,
I would go without a second thought.
See, that's exactly what it's like.
Are you kidding
That's
me?
exactly what it's like. So, like, free candy compared to free anime girl pictures in an animal exhibit.
Who showed up to see anime girls at the zoo? Cardboard cutouts of anime girls at the zoo.
Children.
Children. Do you think so? Children show up to see the penguin girl in a mini skirt, barely covering herself up, going, "Oh."
Yes.
Oh, probably.
It's actually a penguin hoodie that barely extends
wears
across the top section of her thighs.
Oh, it wasn't a mini skirt?
No, in one of the fan arts it was. But I believe the actual cardboard cutout was her wearing a penguin hoodie.
No, yeah.
But to be fair, I didn't study it that hard, so.
I think, honest to God, that the most incredible thing about Japan is that it's either on the cusp of the greatest new trends or it's putting anime characters in zoos. It's just
You act like that's not a potential trend. Just wait and see. Next thing you know, we're gonna have like, what was that show? The Lion's Pride.
Yeah. Oh, Lion Pride, the new kids show, the kids version of Lion King, Lion Guard.
No. There was this show. There was a show when we were kids that was puppet lions.
Read Between the Lions.
Read Between the Lions, yeah.
That was promoting reading, though.
Well, yeah, but like,
read between the lions.
Can you imagine like going to the zoo, going to view the lion exhibit, and they threw some books in there, and they're like, "Look, read between the lions, dude." You act like that's not a possibility.
Just wallop this big cat with a copy of Huckleberry.
That's good. I'm a big fan of that.
Oh no, of course it's good. Everything is good.
Huckleberry Finn is good.
Drugs are good.
Look, all I'm saying is zoos are not inherently bad, right? And if we can give them a little bit more funding by putting cute little anime girls in the penguin exhibit, go for it.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is
is your thought of the idea?
Well, it's the morality. It's like, hold on a minute.
What's immoral about it?
Well, here's what's immoral about it, alright?
Yeah.
You're disgusting if you are like, I'm gonna go to the zoo so I can look at a cute anime girl. I'm sorry. I'm a closed-minded bigot, but pardon me.
Well, maybe, okay, look. Would you go to the zoo?
Yeah.
Well, you just ruined this whole conversation. Okay, would you go, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to go to the zoo, tomorrow if you had a day off?
Oh, not super likely, just because it's far away and expensive.
Okay, now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to go to the zoo on your next day off, if Stone Cold Steve Austin were in the middle of the lion exhibit?
Well, it depends what he's doing.
Wrestling the lions.
Oh, absolutely. Am I going?
Now there you go.
But these anime characters are standing still.
What freaky person in their moral right sense goes to the zoo to watch a grown man wrestle lions?
Look,
I've turned this around on you.
No, I'm not saying that I'm moral. I'm just saying that they're not.
All right. That's a good note. But who are you to criticize at this point?
Oh, no. I'm criticizing not from like my personality, but from the sort of ethereal judgment. I would judge myself.
That's fair.
In the same way. Let me tell you something. I just put money down to go to a wrestling show like 7 states north and watch grown men just beat the tar out of each other for fun. All right? And like by money, I mean like over $130. And
131 to be exact.
So it's like don't get me wrong. I'm not like an authority.
That's fair.
I'm on Just Two Guys, for Christ's sake. And I think it's immoral to present this poison to the minds of the youth. Put a backwards message in of me going, kill your parents while they sleep tonight.
But repeat it like 3 times very slowly in the background. So it really gets into your brain.
Actually, don't do that. I'm lazy.
This seems like a good time for a break, huh?
Well, that's what you think. Man, have you ever been just so impressed with something, but you just don't have the energy to keep clapping anymore?
No.
Well, me either anymore, because I've got an automatic clapper.
Have you ever been to a show and wanted to clap but just felt too lazy? Maybe your hands hurt that day, or maybe you don't have hands.
And man, just clapping with your feet's just not acceptable in this ableist culture.
Pick yourself up and automatic hand clap it today. No more feet clapping, no more not clapping. All you do is press the button and automatically clap your non-hands.
I can even press it with my toes.
Just a podcast.
Our video game is more refreshing than new songs.
I'm gonna murder you. I'm gonna murder you because it's not funny.
Yes, it is.
Alright.
You want to talk about it?
All right, you ready for the most meta thing you've ever heard in a podcast? We were trying to come up with something to say, something to do. Here's an insert in our psyche on episode 2. Joshua clicked a random podcast topic generator, and here's what came up. Are you ready? 18 reasons.
18 surprising reasons.
Surprising reasons why video games are more refreshing than new socks. This made him laugh
So hard.
so hard. This was last night.
I'm still laughing a little.
That tonight when we went to record, and we were like, "Oh, hey, we want to have a topic for that new thing that we do." All right, because what we wanted to do was have a topic. We introduce a topic, and then we just riff on it for a while. You know, we just have a good time, argue about it. Maybe depends on our feelings. Maybe we just reiterate each other over and over again. I don't know. And then Joshua said, "Here's the topic. You ready? Are video games more refreshing than new socks?" And now here's the new topic. Why is humor so damn subjective that you think that is so funny?
All right. Well, I guess that's a good segue into our new segment. Okay, so I guess the new topic is why is humor so subjective?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously what this goes back to is the idea of it's
If you
it's
say
kind of
video games are more refreshing than new socks, I'm going to shoot you.
no, it's kind of this idea of like you are what you eat,
Okay.
right?
I can see where you're going.
So you eat all this humor. Right? And then that's what you become. Right. So hear me out. Just Two Guys comedy, if for those of you unfamiliar, is the idea of something constantly being repeated until it's not funny anymore. Right? We are consistently ingesting that humor on this show, right? And then Trey and I have a very similar, just like personal humor, just in our regular lives.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Trey and I live together, so we're very much embellished in this idea. So we have now become this kind of embellished. What did I say?
You said embellished.
Yeah. What did I meant to say?
Enveloped?
Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
so we're constantly enveloped in this type of humor. So now like my humor, I've ate it all. And now I am a big joke of repetition.
And look, I don't have a problem with that, but because I will repeat things with you all the time. Like
You really just want to know why this particular sock thing is funny. Huh?
Yeah, we have this list. All right, we don't live alone, the two of us. Though I know that that's going to hurt a lot of your fan fiction hearts. We instead live currently with his girlfriend, and my girlfriend will be moving in very soon. And on the list of things that we repeat, it matches completely to the list of things that Carrie is sick of us repeating. 100%. The Venn diagram is one circle.
Oh yeah. That's it. There might be like a slim, overlap at one point. Not overlap, sorry, a slim, exception.
Yeah.
And then that very quickly gets absorbed into the Venn diagram.
If you want, but this point plays into what I'm talking about. Why is it that she doesn't think that's funny? Why is it that she doesn't think that playing No Rain by Blind Melon at max volume on repeat for hours is funny? Because to me,
that's hysterical. So, well, I guess now we'll talk about social upbringing, right?
I guess so.
It really, my dad's humor, my dad is the epitome of dad jokes. I'm not joking with you. Yeah. He is, his favorite phrase, and I've probably said it on the show because once again, I am what I eat.
And he eats his dad regularly.
Is you correct him and he'll say, like the man with the new orthopedic shoes said, I stand corrected.
You have said that so many times in our friendship.
Right, and that's my dad's like ultimate joke. Like that's the one that he's like constantly like got in the chamber. And he's just waiting. He's just waiting to shoot from the hip with it. But he's a super punny guy in every incredible way.
Yeah.
But he constantly repeats jokes.
But
right?
they're still funny.
Oh, they're still funny, right?
Yeah.
But they're, obviously it's funny in the kind of way where you like clutch that like
You're
top
startled.
part. Yeah, you clutch that top part of your nose between your two eyes. You know, that's the kind of funny it is. Like I was on a train with him heading up to New Jersey, and he says, "Look at that quarry." I was like, "Did you see that quarry?" And he's like, "I saw the whole thing."
The whole thing.
The whole thing, as in like hole in the ground.
Yeah, no.
Good joke.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I love it though, but like I said, he'll repeat jokes a lot, and so that's probably where I got that from. And I don't know if you have a similar idea.
No, my dad was probably the exact. My dad will make a joke and everything, but my dad was more of the kind of person to like just mess with you all the time. My dad would just come by. It's gotten to be a joke in my house. If my dad walks by, you should cover your head.
That's fair.
Because it's just this sort of thing where like, it's like, oh, hey, Dad. And not in like a child abuse kind of way, but like in this like just very vague.
It's enough to catch you off guard, but not enough to hurt you.
Yeah, no, yeah, and so like, but I'm not very big on physical comedy, though. Despite that, I don't like, for example, I don't really like what's his name, Gallagher. I don't really like Carrot Top.
What it comes down to then is just the acceptance or rejection of primary socialization.
Either you vomit it up or you become it.
Right.
You either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Exactly. Because at that point, like we all have it. Two different children growing up in the exact same environment. One of them could become the spitting image of their parents socially, and the other one could become an anarchist.
Right,
and
absolutely.
it all just becomes it's all just a result of the acceptance or rejection of this socialization.
Yeah, and but with comedy specifically, it's like for us, and we say this like we're comedians, but we are probably the furthest thing from comedians that's ever made anyone laugh. And, except maybe like a cloud that kind of looks like a penis or something, you know what I mean? Like someone's like, oh, you know, that thing's further from a comedian than we are by lack of sentience, but that's it.
It'd be even funnier if there was a butt nearby, like a butt cloud. Can you imagine that? Just like that is the like that is the comedic equivalent to the stars aligning and summoning Lord Cthulhu.
Yeah, because literally nature has told you a joke, and you go, "Thank you, mother." And you drink it in. You just
eat it,
and you become
it.
See, here's what I'm talking. But see, like, okay, so for example, everyone's pretty familiar with this meme, I think. God, Lee, here it goes. You guys don't have to look this up or anything like that, but there's a video of Scooby-Doo. Basically, it'll
be in the show notes.
Sure. There's a caveman in a block of ice, and it's a abridged version that just cuts together different clips. And Shaggy says, "Boy, am I glad that he's in there and we're out here, and he's the sheriff and we're frozen out here, and we're in there, and I just remembered we're out here. But what I want to know is, where's the caveman?" So, yeah, I got it memorized, by the way.
Oh, me too.
But, so it got to the point in our relationship, which is very intense and sensual, and so we message each other every day, where literally every single day, Joshua would like just send me a message just like, "Wow." I'm like, "What?" And you're like, "Well, I was just thinking about how he's in there." And I was like,
and he'll reply, be like, "And we're out here, and he's the sheriff, and we're frozen out here."
And it always gets to the point where it starts interfering in our everyday life. One time, we were assigned. This is Joshua's most proud and least proud moment.
Yeah.
We were assigned a paper in which we had to write a story for a fiction class.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua managed, I wish I remember the context.
What it was
it was a different repetition?
It was a different joke. There's this poster.
Man.
I'll see if I can find it and throw it in the show notes. If not, oops. It just may not be existent. But basically what it is it's an old boxing mock-up where it's like him versus him, right? And on one side is a train, and the other side is a car.
Yeah.
And it says,
I've still got this.
you?
Yeah, it's
that's
in my
great.
room.
I'll take a picture of it if I can't find it online. But it's like 1,000 tons of American-made steel traveling at 100 miles an hour versus what was it, like 1 ton of
steel, plastic, and rubber.
Yeah. Who would it's like, who would win? It's a matchup that doesn't add up. and so we were assigned a fiction story. And I just wrote mine about a girl being broken up with. Ooh, so original. And she was crying about it. And she says, it says to the effect of, it felt like that she was a car stalled on the train tracks and was hit by 1,000 tons of American steel. And it was like semicolon. It was a matchup that didn't add up.
Oh, and it made me so mad because
and our professor marks things with pluses, and he double plus that, which means it's good. It's very good. It's great. It's a great sentence.
It's the greatest line he's ever read.
Yeah.
And the reason that it messed me up was he left American-made steel.
American-made steel. Well, that's the joke. That's what makes it so funny.
Yeah, but wait, it's so funny to us is that there's steel in the car, and the bill says the car is made of steel, and also the train is made of steel.
But the train steel is American-made steel.
And it's like this weird patriotism and this PSA about not stalling on train tracks.
Or not trying to beat the train. Yeah.
Anyway, so the point is, these things that we've repeated, by the way, we owned that poster we stole it from a police station.
Stole is a strong word. They had it there for a handout, and we took the entire box of handouts.
Yeah, I think that becomes stealing when they can no longer use it for anything, and we didn't help hand it out or get the message across.
We got the message across.
So we took it to our house, like 30 of them, and we taped them up in various locations.
The bathroom, behind the cupboard, so whenever you like pulled out your canola oil, it was back there.
Yeah.
It was everywhere you can imagine. Under the table.
Everywhere.
That might still be under the table in our old apartment, no joke.
I don't think we ever took it down. And it got to the point where there were just so many of them, literally everywhere, on everyone's door, under everyone's door. Our roommate was like throwing them away. He was really upset about it, I think. He never said anything. But it got to the point that it was that bad, and like we were repeating this joke literally all the time. Like I'd call him and he'd be like, "Hey man, what you doing?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I was just wondering if we can meet up." And he was like, "I don't know, because I'm traveling by train right now and you're traveling by car, and I just don't know how that would work up. It's a matchup doesn't add up, dude."
No, the best part is sometimes it would just be like completely like I would buy like a stylus for my phone that like is really cheap and doesn't work, and I'll be like, I guess it's just a matchup that doesn't add up. Just be really insignificant things like that, like where it just no one on earth would look at that and say, well, that's funny. That's a funny joke.
Yeah, and so that's what I mean. Because,
and I'm still chuckling about it.
Yeah, no, and we keep doing it. There's always new stuff. Always new stuff. I don't know, what's the most recent, like, new thing? Because it's never any, like, meme that's going around. It's usually some stupid thing that we saw somewhere. Right now, I know we've got some floating around.
Yeah, it's one of those things you just can never really put your finger on.
Yeah, but Blind Melon is a big one.
Anyway,
the point is, why, like, do you think, I think what it is for Carrie is that she grew up as an only child.
Yeah.
And
so
she never constantly being annoyed.
Yeah. Well, she never had like, and perhaps that isn't why, but she never had anyone to like really bounce that humor off of. I mean, her dad's a funny guy, and her mom's pretty funny too, but it's just a different brand of humor, in its own right. And you know, and also when you have siblings, like I'm not the oldest sibling, but I was kind of the quote unquote entertainer of the group.
Yeah.
Like I would always have to, you know, sit there and, you know, I have a younger brother and an older sister. And, you know, I would sit there and like play video games and entertain them and such. So I was always kind of the entertainer of the group. So I always had to like think of things, right?
Things to do.
But yeah, but like, you know, you just kind of develop this idea, like you see they're laughing at this, like, you know, you're playing Zelda and, you know, some guy hits you with a stick and you're like, oh, that's a matchup that doesn't add up. And they laugh at that, right? And then you're like, oh, they got a hearty chuckle out of that. Let me see if I can get a second. And then it's just as strong and you just see how long it can last.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had a very familiar thing because you are an older child. You are the oldest. Yeah.
I was the oldest, not only among my siblings, but among all my cousins. And they all came over literally almost every day. And we would have 8 kids in the house almost every day. And so, yeah, I was in charge of most things. And it's, so it became like, everybody just always keeps like, oh, what does Trey want to do? And I don't know why. It was never a thing where I was like trying to be that way. I know you probably weren't either.
No.
But it was like,
I mean, you always embellish it a little bit too, though. You're like, oh, everyone thinks I'm funny. All my my siblings think I'm very funny. Ooh. Yeah,
and so, you know, you just do a bunch of random stuff. So to be fair, I guess that's true. Me and Alex have always been that way. That'd be my little brother for anybody that's not Alex. And it's just like, but definitely, like recently Alex has been doing it more and more too, like repeating stuff.
You are what you eat.
Repeating stuff that doesn't make any sense either. And I'm not talking about stuff that he found somewhere else. I'm talking about literally stuff that doesn't make sense. I kid you not. All right, you ready for his like catchphrase right now? Carl, crabgrass, bangarang. Literally, he says it 24/7. We'll be playing a game, and he has this thing that he likes to do. We're way off topic, but if you're ready for this. He calls it mind flooding. I'm going to do this whenever I play against you in any game on Just You Guys. So you better be ready for this because you're going to hate it. But the idea is you just keep saying so much random stuff that your opponent cannot think. So he'll be like sitting there playing me in 2K17 or whatever wrestling game we decided to play because it's usually a wrestling game. And he'll be like, baby, Carl, crabgrass, bang, bangarang. And he just goes, stop. And he goes, what's wrong? You don't like bangarang? You don't like Skrillex? And he'll like hear that dub step. Like, and he's just like, and you can't stand it. But at the same time, when it's all over with and you walk away from the game and he goes, crabgrass, you giggle like a schoolgirl because it's so funny. And like, I don't know, it's just that thing of like, maybe it is just overexposure, you know, that makes something eventually funny. I think maybe that's why people do drugs.
Well, and see, like, it also comes down to like I said, what you surround yourself with, not just not just what's subjected to you, but then what you then choose to subject yourself to. Right, so I'm a big fan. Like, one of my favorite TV shows is Arrested Development, and Arrested Development like rests on the crux of being able to do callbacks, right? Yeah. Like the entire show. If you watch an episode, like if just smack dab in the middle of season 3, you'll think it's pretty funny. But when the guy says, "Baby, you got a stew going," you don't know what that means. You just kind of laugh because it's there. But whenever you watch it from the beginning and you find the origin of it and you like see them like put this new phrase or this new idea in like a different scenario, but it's still just as funny. It's beautiful. Everyone wants Arrested Development. You all should.
We try to do that with Just You Guys too. I mean, but the way that the running jokes on Just You Guys right now are really just about the fact that Just Two Guys isn't funny, which I think is a very relatable joke too.
It's pretty meta.
It's not a joke that we intend. Like, we never obviously you never sit down with a script for Just Two Guys, but it's like, but definitely like we'll like come in thinking like, oh, this is what we should talk about, and then that joke came out of not knowing what to talk about, and then Joshua was like, oh man, you ready to be funny? Just stay completely silent and then repeat things over and over again. And then later on, I'm still not familiar with this. I still haven't double checked this. I mean, you tell me that we sang both Kesha's Timber and Eminem's Not Afraid
in like 3 different sessions. Yeah, it absolutely happened.
I believe you, but I haven't double checked.
You should definitely double check it. It absolutely happened. And I was like, because I got deja vu the first time, but I was like, oh, I must just be remembering. Or the second time I had it, but the first time I realized. So this is like the second session that we had done it in. Yeah. And I got deja vu, and I was like, oh, it must have just been from like when we recorded, and I'm just remembering that. And I was like, no, because it happened in. I think it happened in the Koopa Bros castle. And so I was like, well, I'm putting like a different thing on here. And then it happened again, and I was just like,
absolutely, this is
sometimes you
super deja vu.
Yeah, you get these things that like,
oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's pretty interesting because we're repeating ourselves
but
without
not even
realizing
noticing
it.
Yeah, well, it's just because our brains are like fine tuned in this very particular way now.
I agree with you.
And whenever it becomes something that we're doing unintentionally, well, obviously we're not realizing we're doing it, but we won't realize when we repeat it because it's like, whenever you kick off your shoes, you don't think about all the last times you've kicked off your shoes. It just happens because you kick off your shoes so like habitually.
Frequently,
yeah. So you don't think about all the other times you do it, and
That's why I feel bad for stand-up comedians whose style is going stale. Like who's hiring Seinfeld right now? And it's and the reason is because the industry is a parody of Seinfeld. If you listen you listen to any other like stand-up comedian, like the big comedians right now, like Aziz Ansari or Hannibal Buress or Kevin Hart or Louis C.K., they all have a delivery that is stunted on purpose because you're so used to the, oh, what's the deal with airline food? You're so used to the like, here comes the joke and punchline. You're so used to that now it's not funny. And what's funny is when somebody is telling you the joke and in the middle of the joke, here is the punchline, and then they just kind of go on for a little bit. And it's this awkward like, what? That gets you to giggle, and that's modern comedy.
It's
subverting
the expectations. Yeah, and that's what we like to do on here sometimes.
I think what the repetition does is because you get used to it, but then so it's where it's originally from. So when you see the original clip, you're ready for it,
right?
But then it just shows up in other places. And I think that's why memes that insert things are funny.
Exactly, that's exactly true in my opinion.
Exactly true in my opinion.
Yeah, but
in my humble scholarly opinion, I am HSO
because like it's really funny whenever we do an entire episode of Lackey Lester being a conspiracy theorist, right?
I thought so.
And then we skip an episode or two, and then we just bring it back randomly, and it's been like a whole different session for us, right?
Oh
and
it's been
we
weeks
just bring it back.
Yeah.
And nobody was expecting it because we've used Lackey Lester like 8 times since then without mentioning it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's definitely this idea of subverting the expectation and doing that through repetition. It's really just trying to see how many laughs you can get out of the same joke.
Yeah.
Just it's almost a challenge.
Yeah. And
that's what we do here on Just Two Guys.
Yeah.
We challenge
what we
ourselves.
do here is go back. There's a referential humor if I ever heard one.
This has been good though.
Well, you know what I like about the podcast format is that it's easy for us to not care.
You want to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, I don't mean that I don't put tender love and butter into every batter swoop. But what I mean is,
that was good.
Yeah, I want a T-shirt of that. Tender love and care at every batter swoop. But what I mean is that like when you're playing a game, I get distracted. I'm like, we're creeping on this guy, and now we gotta be quiet because we're creeping on this guy, and it's like, he can't hear you. Keep telling jokes, dumbass. So it's like,
yeah. Well, and then here, this solely depends on us, right? Like when we're doing like a video, it's we have to balance our commentary with the gameplay because we're not paying attention to the game, it's not fun, and if we're not paying attention to our own commentary, it's not fun.
Yeah, comedy's a stretch.
Yeah.
Comedy's a bit of a stretch if you
So,
ask me.
This has been a nice wrap up though. Everyone, this has been episode 2 of Just a Podcast. Go back and listen to episode 1 if you haven't.
Yeah.
And be expecting an episode 3 next week. And I'm also very excited to announce that this will be up on SoundCloud as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can go listen to it there.
Yeah, if you have for example, I know that people have the problem with if you want to listen to a podcast on YouTube, you can't listen to it, say, on your phone. Because you turn it off and put it in your pocket. You don't really hold it open in your hand.
Exactly.
So the SoundCloud app you can close out.
There's also an RSS feed available in the show notes. Basically, like here, I'll show you, Trey. I've got an app called Podcast Addict on Android where you can paste an RSS feed. There we are, right there. Our video, or our podcast, right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
we're sponsored by Podcast Addict now.
No, but you can plug that RSS feed into pretty much any podcast app and get it through there.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna try to make this podcast thing a big thing.
Yeah.
So, help us along with the ride. And
if you have any ideas for topics, questions,
oh
etc.,
yeah, that's something we want to do. I think next week we'll do a question segment if we get enough questions.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't, we'll supplement it. It's not a big deal.
So everybody ask us a bunch of questions. I want some fan questions. Everyone do like five questions each in the comments, and then
why not?
And then we'll go through and just pick some. You don't have to do 5. You could do more than 5 if you want. Just throw as many questions in the comments as you want.
Listen, though, if you do like 50, I ain't reading it.
Well, I'm not saying we're going to answer every single question you ask. But the more questions you ask, the higher chance of picking one you'll have.
If you ask 50, number them so that we can run it through a random generator and pick one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to read all 50 on this show.
But yeah. So everybody, we'll go ahead and call that. We'll go ahead and say, leave us comments, asking questions. And... it could be any question about, just two guys, about our personal lives, about...
ask me everything about my opinion on murder. Make it somber. Make it dark.
or you can ask us, like, what made you want to do Just Two Guys? Just little stuff like that. Whatever you want to do, though. It could be as deep or as shallow as you want.
Absolutely. We're not opposed to anything.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's enough rambling from us. If anyone's ever listening to this over your shoulder and say, hey, what's that? Just tell them it's just a podcast.